What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. Today it's team selection time ahead of game week 17. This is the last game week now of the Christmas period, so where they've been coming thick and fast. We get a little bit of a break before game week 18, although a lot of us are going to be panicking over our free hit teams. And obviously then game week 19 is a double game week, so there's still a lot of chaos to come. But game week 17 feels huge for so many reasons, right? There's been postponements, so will there be more? Man City are back training. Will they be able to play their game against Chelsea? We assume they probably will be, but we don't really have confirmation either way right now. And also, if you are free hitting in game week 18, if you don't use your transfer in game week 17, you're going to lose it. And then Gabby Logan on Amazon Video last night, or Amazon Sport Video, whatever it's called, Amazon Prime Video, I believe, she said that the fixtures that have been postponed, so the Spurs game and the Man City game, will be rearranged in January. Now, whether she means they're going to be played in January, I don't know, or whether she means that the Premier League and Amazon will just come to an agreement that they're going to be rearranged at some point in the future and they'll decide in January. We don't know, but potentially now, that means game week in 18 and 19 could have extra fixtures in, meaning a double game week for Spurs potentially. And when are we going to find all this out? I don't know, but that would change things massively. But like I said, if you're planning to free hit in 18, you've got to use your transfer this week. So I'm going to talk about that as we go through the team, show you how I did in game week 16, and then look ahead to 17, say my transfer, captaincy, all that good stuff. So give it a like if you enjoy the video, hit subscribe, let's get into it. So game week 16 was a very strange week in what has been a very strange year. And obviously the Man City game being called off was big because a lot of people had Calvert-Lewin, De Bruyne, Diaz, Cancelo, and then Spurs gets called off. A lot of ownership for Kane and Son in particular, and obviously I had Reguilon as well. So not a good postponement for me. My transfer for a -4 was De Bruyne out and Watkins out. So when De Bruyne's game got called off and Watkins blanked, I was thinking, okay, this could be good. Rafinha goes and gets 8 points, which is decent. So I'm already +2. And then Kane's match gets called off, so I don't get any extra points from him. So my hit did work out at a +2, so I'm kind of happy with that. But it would have been really nice after the Man City game was called off for the Spurs one to go ahead, because I got 9 points from Robertson, 12 from Dallas, and I think Reguilon could have got a clean sheet against Fulham, so it could have been a huge score. But I'm not going to complain because I got 59 points in a week where a lot of people kind of struggled with players and stuff like that. And I kind of feel like I've got away with it a little bit. I had 10 players altogether. So Soufal didn't come off the bench. So Calvert-Lewin, Kane and Reguilon all didn't play. So I only had Souček and Mitchell, who started that game. Who saw that coming? So yeah, it was a pretty decent week. Like I said, 59 -4. I've gone up again to 37k. I was about 51k before this week. So a nice green arrow, especially with another blank from Salah. So I got 60 points last week with Salah blank, and now 59 -4 with Salah blank. That's pretty good when it comes to captaincy fails, because no other captain has really run away with it. Like Fernandes did well last week. I think it was against Leicester. But of course, so many people captained Salah, it didn't really hurt me too much. And obviously I did own him as well. The Leeds boys, amazing. 5-0 against West Brom. 12 for Dallas, an assist, a clean sheet, 3 bonus. What a legend. Rafinha coming in on his first game, 8 points, great goal. I would like to have seen a bit more goal threat from him. He didn't really get forward a huge amount where he was having shots on goal, but the goal he scored was brilliant. And then Bamford with the 2 assists. I feel a little bit fortunate, to be honest, to have 2 assists from him, but I'll take it in what was, like I said, a very strange week. 59 -4 was extremely decent. Not really too much else to say. Grealish and Martinez blanked. Wasn't necessarily expecting huge points from them. It was nice for Martinez to get a save point. And obviously the players that have missed out now, Kane, Reguilon and Calvert-Lewin, are at least rested for the next game week. So let's take a look at game week 17. I'll talk about my transfers and how the team is looking. So I'm not expecting a huge amount of points from my defence this week. I've got 1 free transfer after making the hit last week. I made 2 transfers last week, so only 1 this week. 103 million squad value, 1.3 in the bank. And before I talk about the actual players, I should probably talk about my strategy, right? So it was to free hit in 18 and bench boost in 19, and it's still the same right now. And I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end, but people are getting put off because of the postponements, right? If we bench boost, what if games get called off, right? And there's a lot of what ifs this season, but there's, the opposite is what if they all get played and the bench boost is really good, right? With the postponements, I know things are bad right now. I think I've been reading that cases are as high, if not slightly higher than back in April when it was really bad. And I think probably Christmas had a lot to do with that, and hopefully it will start to come down. But obviously I don't know. I don't think there's much of a chance of football being completely postponed, right? They've already said they're not looking to do this 2-week break thing that kind of got proposed a little bit. And I just don't see why they would have a 1-2 month pause, because you've got the Euros to come, they need to get the league finished and stuff like that. And again, like the preview video, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, I'm just saying I think that's what's going to happen. So I don't see that happening. And if we think about it, right, we've had 16 game weeks, and I believe we've only had 3 postponed fixtures. Villa versus Newcastle, the Man City-Everton game, and then Spurs versus Fulham. I don't think there's been any others, right? So there's like 150-odd fixtures, and only 3 have been called off so far. Obviously, when 2 of them happen, and they're 2 big teams like Spurs and Man City, and even Everton as well, then that hurts. And if that happened in a bench boost week, then of course that would be a nightmare. But right now, I don't think what's happened is changing my thinking, right? So I'm looking to free hit in 18, which means I've got to make a transfer this week, which I'll come on to in a sec. Martinez in goal, Man United away. Not expecting too many points there. I don't foresee a clean sheet. I do think Villa are decent. I do think they'll give Man United a really good game. And I wouldn't be completely surprised if it was a draw, to be honest. But Man United have been playing well, been scoring goals. I think they'll get a goal there. Martinez not keeping a clean sheet. It's a big week for Man United, really, because if they win this game against Villa, they go into that Liverpool game, which is the next one in the league after that, 3 points behind if Liverpool beat Southampton, with a game in hand as well. So that's going to be a huge game. So I think Man United, obviously they always want to win, but there's a lot riding on the win right now to be in a great position when they play Liverpool as well. And I'm not saying Man United are going to win the league or anything like that, but obviously it's a good time for Man United players. So they're going to be doing everything they can to get that win, and they've got enough, right? We've been scoring quite a few goals. I know Wolves was tricky, but Wolves' defence was extremely good, and I think it is probably a step above Villa's. But yeah, again, close game. I see Martinez conceding. Not great, but I think with Aston Villa, I've had to hold them through Chelsea and Man United, right? We all know they've had a 3-fixture run, which isn't great. But the third game is against Spurs in game week 18. So if you're free hitting like I am, you can get rid of the Villa players then anyway, and then you come back to Everton. I think they got Burnley, Southampton, West Ham. That's pretty good fixtures. So I'm happy with Martinez. My defence is where it's a little bit of a worry, right? Robertson, I'd always back Liverpool for clean sheets. They got one against Newcastle, but they're playing Southampton, Danny Ings, Che Adams and co. That's going to be a struggle. But I will say, right, and I forgot to mention this in the review, how did Robertson not get any attacking returns against Newcastle, right? There was a really bad touch where he could have been through on goal. The assist from the corners, right? I don't know how the ball did not go in the net. So even if he doesn't get a defensive return, he's always looking good for an attacking return. So really happy with him. The other two, not so much, right? Reguilon, I've got to play. If I don't play Reguilon, I've got to play Dallas against Spurs. And I do see Spurs scoring, so I don't really want to play Dallas, even though his attacking threat is decent. So I'm playing Reguilon. I'm hoping he can get some kind of an attacking return, all right? I feel like he owes me one at this point. And then so far against Everton, obviously Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison's going to be back as well. I think Rodriguez is still out. But that's probably going to be a goal there for Everton as well. I don't see Everton not scoring. So Sofao's probably going to concede as well. The only other option is to play Mitchell and hope that he's won his place back. But if we're being realistic, he probably played because of the short turnaround time. And I expect Van Aanholt to come back in. Now, Mitchell did play well. Crystal Palace only conceded 1 goal against Leicester. They've only kept 1 clean sheet all season. Roy Hodgson, I'm sure, is going to be fully aware of that and maybe want to change things up. But benching Van Aanholt just doesn't seem like something he's going to do. Even though Van Aanholt's contract is up at the end of the season, I don't think he's signed a new one. So they could try and bed Mitchell in more and more as the season goes on. But I feel like it's wishful thinking. But it is Sheffield United at home. So I am tempted just to play him and hope that he doesn't come on if he doesn't start and put Sofao ahead of Dallas on the bench. So defensively, not looking fantastic. No transfers in terms of the defence. I'll talk about my transfer at the end because it's to do with one of the bench players. But yeah, I'm not expecting a huge amount of points, but the way Leeds attack, I'm hoping that Reguilon can get forward and cause them problems. Robertson's always good. And then after that, Mitchell, Sofao, Martinez, I'm just hoping, really. So Grealish is a player who is, I don't know, dividing opinion right now about whether he's a good FPL player. Another blank against Chelsea this time. I think that's 4 blanks in the last 5 game weeks. So I can see why people are getting frustrated. Man United not great. Although like Martinez, after this Man United game, if I don't want him against Spurs, I can free hit him out and then have him back for the Everton game in game week 19. And obviously good fixtures after that. No double game week, so if you wanted to go for a double game week player instead, that's a good move, I would say. But he's gone down to 7.7 now. He's dropped in price. I've still got him for 7.1. So he's gone up 0.6 in my team. I do think the fixtures are good enough afterwards to hold him. I do wonder if he needs Ross Barkley back a little bit so he can move back to the left instead of playing central. But there's no guarantee even when Barkley's fit that will happen because Traore and El Ghazi have been playing really well. So he might want to keep Grealish central. And to be fair, not against Chelsea, but the one before that, Watkins got 3 assists, but it could quite easily have been 2 Watkins goals and 2 Grealish assists instead. So he does come very close. And I think that's what frustrates people, that he's always creating chances and they're not always being put away. But that happens in football, right? If you look at it a different way, he scored 90 points so far this season. He's the 4th highest scoring midfielder. His points per match, he's the 4th highest scoring midfielder. Even if you took out the Liverpool game, right, 24 points, bit crazy, never going to do that again probably for the next kind of 3, 4, 5 seasons. He may never score that many points in the rest of his career in one game week. He's still over 5 points per match, so he's still doing really well. He can be frustrating for people because he goes like a couple of blanks, then like a 10-point haul. But for me, I just think I've got to ride this Man United game out. If he gets points in this game, then happy days, obviously, as long as Man United win. And then I can free hit him out if I don't want him against Spurs. So I'm keeping him for now. But I can see why people are taking a bet on someone else or maybe going for a double game week player instead. Or I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But for me, I've got other transfers to do, and Grealish is not really at the top of my list so far. Rafinha, so good, 8 points in the last game. Hoping he can do something similar against Spurs. Going to be a trickier game, right? Spurs are definitely going to defend better than West Brom did. But we know that Leeds are always creating chances. I spoke about on the preview that the points are often shared around, so they could put 2 or 3 past Spurs and Rafinha might not be involved at all, but that's kind of just the luck of the draw, and I think for his price, he just looks so good right now, and he's going to enable me to have a pretty good bench boost team and have Salah and have Fernandes and have Kane as well, so really happy with him. Salah's a bit frustrating, right, because he's blanked twice now in a row, Newcastle and West Brom, and he only got a penalty as well versus Fulham. So it hasn't been a great time in those easier fixtures. And I don't know, there's something about him that just looks a little bit off. But at the same time, great save from Darlow to deny him. There was another really good chance where on another day he puts it away instead of puts it around the post. There was a corner that came in. He just didn't quite get on the end of it. I don't know. And they say it was the same in the West Brom game. I think the West Brom game was when Robertson put the ball on a plate for him and he was so close to it. So Salah has blanked twice and only got a penalty against Fulham. But there is a big score coming. I think he's still getting really, really good chances. And we know what a quality player he is, right? Given all the points he's scored so far this season. So I'm not too worried about him. I will say I don't have captaincy on him yet this week. Although I had that before I saw the Newcastle game, right? I didn't have my captain on Salah even before he played Newcastle. So that hasn't played on my mind. I just think this might be a good week to go a little bit different. But Salah captain is always good, especially against Southampton. I think McCarthy has bailed out Southampton quite a few times in recent weeks. I think the defence is okay, but it's probably not as good as the points it's got so far. And I think Liverpool will be fine in that game. And then Fernandes against Villa, what can I say? He's just got more returns in the last game. Great ball to Rashford. Obviously, Rashford had to do a lot to get the goal, but still a nice ball from Fernandes. And he played well in that game, I thought. There was a really good chance for him to score. It was like point-blank range, and he kind of put it straight at Patricio, which was frustrating. But again, he was involved. He was in the box, creating chances. What can I say? I don't know why I got on him earlier. I didn't get on him earlier. Villa at home is a good fixture. Possibly, I might captain him this week. I'm torn, to be honest. I think he's just taking over so much, and I think there will be chances for Man United against Villa. I can see another goal and assist game for Fernandes, so I think he's a really good captain. I do think Salah's probably my third choice this week. I may still put it on him, but right now he's probably my third choice, and Fernandes is definitely up there. No plans to get rid of him. Fixtures are good for the double. Fixtures are good after the double as well, so definitely want to keep him. Let's take a look at the forwards. We'll start off with Calvert-Lewin. I think this is where my team is slightly separated from those that have played their wildcard to set up for the bench boost in Game Week 19 is a lot of them have got rid of Grealish and Calvert-Lewin, and for good reason, right? Neither of them have double game weeks. They both had pretty difficult fixtures. Like, even if Calvert-Lewin had played, it was against Man City. Grealish has just played Chelsea, then he's got Man United. So I can see why people got rid of them. I'm just hoping they can continue ticking over and make it worth my while to keep them, because obviously I am going into a bench boost with a few single game week players, which I don't think there's a massive issue doing that. But there is a lot riding on Calvert-Lewin and Grealish. My only hope is now he's about to play West Ham with Richarlison back, and he has had a rest, right? Yes, David Moyes rested a few of the West Ham boys, but Everton have had a complete rest over that period because the game got called off. And it wasn't obviously their fault that it got called off. It was not that it was anyone's fault, but you know what I mean. It was Man City that had the positive test, not Everton, so they should have been able to keep training, etc., and should be fresh for this game. So West Ham is a decent game for Calvert-Lewin. I'm hoping he can get back to goal-scoring ways because it's been a while. Bamford, absolute legend for me so far since he's been in my team. I actually brought him in to fund a move to Salah, which involved getting rid of Kane, and that has worked out really, really well. And obviously, like I said, for Rafinha, I expect Leeds to score against Spurs. I don't necessarily think it'll be a lot of goals, but they're going to give them a tough game. Bamford, the number 9, absolutely looks nailed on for points over the next few weeks, and on penalties as well. So no reason to get rid of him. Kane is the interesting one, right? So got him for Fulham. He hasn't played, but he's got Leeds, and this was the better game, I felt. And obviously, like Calvert-Lewin, he's been rested too. And I think Spurs will get a good amount of chances in this game, right? Leeds will dominate possession as they always do. They'll attack, they'll attack, they'll attack. They'll commit men forward. They'll overload the box. And if Spurs can get through that, they'll be able to counter-attack. And Kane and Son are going to be at the forefront of that. Son also looks like a really good captain this week, but I don't own him. But I am tempted to captain Kane, right? Leeds' defensive stats are not great, right? They're one of the worst in the league. But when they play teams like West Brom, Burnley, it kind of suits them a bit. I know Burnley were unlucky not to have been given a goal, right? But it kind of suits them in those kind of games. They can easily, like, if West Brom win the ball back, Leeds get it back quickly. It won't be the same against Spurs, and Leeds probably will give up chances. So I think right now my captain is going to stay on Kane. And if I change it, it'll just be to Fernandes, right? I'm not looking to put it on Salah this week. I don't think Salah's a bad captain. I think his effective ownership will still be really high, and he could punish me, but at least I own him. I just feel like this is maybe a week to go a little bit different. Kane's fully rested, playing a team that like to give up chances. He's on penalties as well. Not had a penalty for a while, so who knows about that. And so far, Kane is my captain. On the bench is Souček, Mitchell, Dallas, and Forster. And I'll just quickly switch to the FPL page now so I can talk about my transfer and just go through my strategy one more time before we get to Game Week 18. But that is the team. I foresee one change to build for the bench boost. I'll talk about that in a sec. Kane captain as it stands. It might be Fernandes. And Mitchell, potentially, I might play him instead of Sofal. But otherwise, the team you see on screen is the one I'm taking into 17. I really hope I get some points from Calvert-Lewin and Grealish. Although in Grealish's case, it's going to have to be in a loss. Otherwise, I'd rather he blanked. But yeah, otherwise, team looking okay. I feel like I've said a lot of times I'm just treading water a few weeks. But with that defence, it's not ideal. I feel like people will have better teams than this going into this week. So if I can get another green arrow, huge. As long as I can keep the red arrow to an absolute minimum, I'll probably be happy with that this week. Okay, so we're just on the FPL page now quickly. And like I said, I've got Mitchell in there as it stands, but I'm probably going to switch into Sofal. Kane is definitely my captain, and Fernandes is the vice captain as well. So that is the team. So my transfer this week, right, I've got 1.3 in the bank, and this was my original plan, which I think I'm sticking to. So it's Forster out. And then goalkeepers, I'm going to get Johnston in. Johnston's quite far down the list, actually. Now, I'm a little bit worried about West Brom because obviously Big Sam's come in. Everyone's going to say they're going to get better defensively. They've conceded to Liverpool. They conceded to Leeds. They conceded 3 to Villa. So they haven't been great. Obviously, he's not had a huge amount of time to work with them. I do think potentially West Brom against Arsenal is probably better than Martinez against Man United. So if I bought Johnston in, I would play him this week instead of Martinez. So that means I'll miss the Man United game and the Spurs game with Martinez, and then get him back for Game Week 19. The double game week for West Brom is Wolves away and West Ham away. I'm not sure whether I definitely don't see 2 clean sheets. The Wolves game maybe, but I'm just not sure West Brom are good enough to keep them out. So I'm really hoping for save points. But Johnson does rotate quite well with Martinez after the double, before I then go and use the wild card at some point in game week like 24, 25 maybe. The other reason is he's 4.5 million. Most of the other goalkeepers are not 4.5 million anymore. Meslier can't get in. I've already got triple leads. McCarthy's 4.7, and as I've shown you before with my strategy, there's not really enough money to go around to warrant paying a little bit extra. Plus Leicester and Leeds in the double and Liverpool this week. I don't think he's getting many points, and the fixtures are bad afterwards as well. So I don't really want McCarthy. So it's probably going to be Johnston in, right? So he's in. I've got 0.8 million more to spend. That move in game week 19, because obviously I'll free hit in 18, so I won't get a free transfer then. In game week 19, it'll be Mitchell out to Balbuena, right? That's my current plan. Hopefully he was just rested in the last game week, which is why he didn't play. So Balbuena would be in. That would give me Balbuena and Sofal for the Burnley and West Brom games in the double game week. And that would be my team for game week 19 without any hits, right? So it would be Johnson in game week 17, free hit in 18, and then Balbuena in for game week 19. Big if Spurs get a double game week. I've got Reguilon on Kane already. Brilliant. Would I want Son in? Maybe. I don't really have a good way to get him. The only way that would happen is if one of the double game week teams was moved out into game week 18 instead. But I don't see that happening. So if Reguilon and Kane got a double game week, I'm absolutely laughing. Then I've only got Grealish, Calvert-Lewin and Martinez as my single game week players. I don't think that's going to happen. But that's basically what I'm setting up for, the bench boost. It hasn't changed my mind, everything that's happened. Maybe it should, but I don't even know what transfer I would make instead, even if I wasn't playing for the bench boost. I just think my team's looking in such a good position to do that now that I've got to follow through with it, get the bench boost out of the way, so when I wildcard, I'm not worried about it. I'm just playing the rest of the season as normal. So Johnson's probably coming in this week. I'm going to make that. I'm definitely going to make that transfer on the deadline stream because I want to give as much time as possible to get as much information as possible. And then Balbuena in, and then someone asked me on the last video, how am I getting De Bruyne back? It would have to be Kane and Souček out to like someone like Brewster, or even someone cheaper like Keenan Davis maybe for a while, because I don't think I'm going to be tripling up on Villa again soon. So yeah, Keenan Davis out, and then Souček to De Bruyne maybe. Could be Son, could be Rashford, I don't know. There's options there. Maybe I even keep Kane after the double for a little while, I don't know. The fixtures aren't great after the double, so I'm looking at moving him on. Could be to Vardy, right? I haven't yet decided. I don't need to decide to game week 20, but I've got a route back to De Bruyne if I want him, and the fixtures are good. And obviously, you know, if City were to get a double game week in 19, then that changes things completely. And I'm not going to worry about that now because it would take so much rearranging in my team. I'm not sure I'd be able to do it. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the transfers. Johnston in this week for Forster. Balbuena hopefully in game week 19 for that double game week. But we'll see what happens in 17 and 18 first, and then worry about the bench boost. So there we go. That's the last team selection video of 2020. I even pulled out the green hoodie for it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Like, I know it's been a pretty awful year all round. And if these videos have somewhat kept you entertained, or at least informed you or helped you with your FPL decisions, then that makes me happy. I think this year I've definitely had focus with this channel. It's really helped me kind of get through it. And obviously there's still more to come, but hopefully we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now. So fingers crossed we can all get through this. And obviously these videos will continue next year. So if you have enjoyed them, please do keep giving them a like, hitting subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't already. And leave me a comment below. Let me know if everything that happened in Game Week 16 with postponements and stuff is changing your thinking towards Game Week 18 and 19, or are you just sticking with the same plan like I am. So let me know in the comments below. And lastly, I'll just do a quick shout out to everyone on Patreon. If you want to sign up, there's a link in the description below. There's Slack access to join the Let's Talk FPL community, early team reveals, all these videos converted to podcasts. If you'd rather listen on podcasts, they're available on Patreon. There's WhatsApp access as well over there. There's loads of stuff. If you want to check it out, link in the description. Everyone that signs up goes up on the Legends wall as well. So thank you to everyone that's already signed up. And if you want to sign up, like I said, link in the description below. Give it a look. We're on to 5 walls of Legends now. There's so many people signed up. So if you want to get involved, you know where the link is. I will leave it there. I will probably have captaincy video on New Year's Day and a deadline video on New Year's Day. So the content's still coming, but this probably will be the last video for 2020 unless I do somewhat of an impromptu stream later on, but we'll have to wait and see about that. So thank you for all your support this year. It's been appreciated. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do it all again next year. I'm looking forward to it. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon.